Hi everyone, and welcome to our somatic practice today. My name is Nicole. As a new channel, I would love it if you liked, subscribed, and comment with your experience after you've done this video, even part of it. So today we're doing a somatic practice of pendulation. What is pendulation? So we're pendulating between two different things. There's just a difference between the two. It doesn't have to be big. And this can be pendulating in somatics in particular between different sensations or different movements. And you can even apply this to thoughts where we can pendulate between different thoughts as well. But we'll stick with somatics today. And it's a reminder that when we're in a particular state, we don't stay stuck there. And really we can't. We don't want to stay stuck in unpleasant sensations or states, and we can't stay stuck in the pleasant ones either, and both are necessary for flow. We contract before we expand, and a great example of this is the heart. There's no flow of blood through the body if there isn't that contraction before the expansion that allows this like life force to flow through us, right? And there's other examples of pendulation in nature as well. So a great example would be the seasons. So we've got fall and winter, which you could think of as more of a contraction. And then we've got the spring and the summer, which could be more of a state of expansion. And another one that's present in our bodies is our lungs. So we're expanding, and then we have to push out and contract and make space for new oxygen to come in. Both are important, both are necessary. So with that said, let's start focusing on the breath. So maybe shift around a little bit. Just run your hands over your thighs. Maybe give yourself a little squeeze. Hello. And just settling in, eyes open or closed. You always have a choice and everything's an invitation. And just noticing the breath. Don't change the breath. Just notice what it naturally does. We're noticing that expansion and a contraction. Notice what it feels like in your body when the contraction happens. And notice what it feels like during the expansion when you take that breath in. Just take two more breaths. Great. And now let's notice the movement outwards. So actually take your hands and let's just move our hands with our breath. So we're going to go out as we breathe in and bring it in as you breathe out. Let's do that a couple more times. Out and bring the hands in. And notice how the sides of your body contract and expand. And the rib cage is kind of this 3D here. The lungs are 3D. They're expanding in all the ways. And one more out. And breathe out. Good. Now let's notice how our back actually has a little bit of expansion when we breathe, and so does our belly. And you can do this with a bit of a twist if you want, just whatever way you'd like, but let's do that with the arms again. So going with your own breath, as we breathe in, we stretch the arms out and bring them in, and then let's twist to the other side. Take that breath in And breathe out. And let's go to the other side again. And breathe out. And one more to the other side. And now when our lungs take in air, they actually expand right up into our collarbones. So let's, and then our diaphragm drops, right? So the lungs are also stretching this way. So let's start with our hands like this. And as we breathe in, let's stretch our arms. You can flip the hands if you want, or just keep them the same, up to you. Take a breath in. And breathe out. And a breath in. And a breath out. And another breath in. And a breath out. And one more. Breathing in. And breathing out. Good. Okay, and just pause. Notice how you feel. And remember, we're just noticing there doesn't have to be a change. Just kind of taking inventory. What can we notice? What can we be with our body and the sensations that it holds? So next thing we're going to do is we're going to play with posture. So typically, if we're in more of like maybe like almost a feeling of depression, sadness, or just feeling small, what we'll typically do is we'll kind of cave in. So we're going to play with that. And the way you're going to do this is you're actually going to use your chest and your abdomen to bring it in, and then the front of your shoulders too. So let's slowly, using the chest and the abdomen to kind of make yourself small. And remember, everything is an invitation. Take a couple breaths here. And now let's notice what it feels like to come out of that posture into a neutral posture. Almost as if you were full of like, I'm going to say airbags that are filling up. The spine gets taller. And notice how that feels. And let's just pause here and notice what neutral feels like. And let's do that again. So go slowly, making ourselves smaller, using the front of the body, the muscles in the front of the body to contract. And take a couple breaths here. And sometimes we need to get small. Sometimes we need to kind of cave in and just take a little break. And after we've been here, we're going to notice, what does it feel like to come out of that posture? So really slowly. See how slow you can go here as you come into a neutral position. Shoulders come back, spine gets straight. It's easier to look around here, orient, take in the world. And just notice. Good. Now, when we're typically in more of a state of stress, what'll happen is our muscles on our back will contract and almost bring us more into like an arch position, like we're ready to go kind of thing. So slowly bring your shoulders back. So using the muscles in the back, tilt your pelvis forward. And you can bring your elbows back. And here it's easy to orient too, right? We're kind of on guard. We're looking around. So hold this, notice what it feels like. Take a couple breaths. And this shouldn't hurt, by the way. You should just feel a bit of tension. No pain. And even if you do a really small movement, it's still very valuable. So taking a breath here. Okay, and now let's slowly come out of that tension pattern into neutral. See how slow you can go. Just tiny incremental shifts till we can relax in neutral. Okay, good. So now we're in a neutral position, shoulders are dropping, our back is relaxed, and just notice what this feels like. What does it feel like to be in neutral? And using this is actually a good way to learn how to come out of these tension patterns. We go into them, the body's pulling us into them. And then also showing the body, what does it feel like to relax out of these sort of stress patterns, whether it's a closed in or kind of like a stress pattern of like being anxious or maybe in fight or flight. So we're in neutral. And let's start to bring the shoulders back, tilting the pelvis forward, creating that arch. You can bring your elbows back as well. And you can do this just a bit if you want. And let's take some breaths there. Remember, it shouldn't hurt. You just want to feel the contraction. Can you feel the contraction in your back? And let's slowly come out of that into neutral. And noticing what neutral feels like. And we're just going to stay here for a bit, because sometimes when we just kind of take time to do nothing, the body can let go of in little ways that maybe are even hard for us to notice. So just staying in neutral, noticing what that feels like, noticing if your body relaxes even more. And if it is, where are you sensing that is happening? Is it in the shoulders? Is it in the back, the jaw, maybe in the pelvis? And now let's pendulate with the eyes. So let's take a look around the room that you're in, the space that you're in. Taking in stimulus, taking in color, shades, light, noticing texture. So what are you looking at, and can you notice the texture of what you're looking at? And notice what catches the eye. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe it's very pleasant to look at. And taking time to look both left and right, and up and down and behind us. Even if there's just a wall, show your body. Show your body. It's just a wall back there. Maybe there's something else. Okay, and coming back to neutral, looking ahead, and now let's just let the eyes close. And what is it like to notice the absence of light, the presence of darkness, the absence of the stimulus that's around you? This could be very pleasant for you. Maybe it's unpleasant. And again, if anything's really uncomfortable, you do not have to do it. You can always opt out. If you'd like to keep your eyes closed or open because that makes you feel safe, please go ahead and do that. And the opposite can be true as well. Noticing what the back of the eyelids look like. There is still color there, right? Especially if it's light out. You can usually see that kind of red. Or maybe there's different shades that you're noticing if you can't see the color red. And let's let the eyes open. Ooh. And let the light come in. Hello, light. Hello, colors. Noticing what it feels like, that difference between light, having the eyes open, and having the eyes closed. And just notice if you can find a favorite color or a favorite object in the room. And just in your mind, you can say hello to that color or object. So I'm looking at a little turtle. Hello, turtle. And if you say it, you can say it out loud if you'd like, and notice what it feels like to hear your voice in the room. Okay, good. And closing the eyes one more time. Just taking that in. Good. And now you can keep your eyes closed or you can open them. If you're opening them, you could maybe look downcast at the floor and just through a soft gaze, because we're going to shift our focus internally a little bit. And so as we're focusing internally, I want you to notice where there's something pleasant, a pleasant sensation or neutral sensation, but something that you can kind of be with in the body. And maybe that is the tips of the fingers. And if you're having trouble sensing your fingers, maybe just move them around on a surface so you can feel that sensation. I sometimes like the wrists. I feel like that's very pleasant for me. It could be the feet. If you're someone that holds a lot of constriction in the body, look for places that don't have constriction. So it could be the hands, it could be the feet, it could really be anywhere in the body. But you could also just go to your ears. They don't have your ears really don't hold a lot of tension. So what do the ears feel like? What does the tip of your nose feel like? And if you're having trouble here, you could use your hands to bring attention there. So if I bring my hand up to my ear, I can feel some warmth on my ear. So just sensing the warmth on your ear or anywhere on your body. And noticing what that feels like, that sensation there. So wherever that sensation that you're noticing is, can you feel its edges? And would you give it a color if it had one? What's the temperature? The texture? And how might it want to move? So if I'm noticing a pleasant sensation here on my wrist. So how does it want to move? Maybe it wants to be touched. That feels pretty good actually. Or maybe it wants to move like this a little bit. Or maybe it wants to stay still. So now we've got that sort of pleasant or neutral sensation in the body. And now we're going to look for just like a 2 out of 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 of some tension in the body. Could even be a 1. So just scanning the body, noticing if there's any tension somewhere. So I'm noticing there's just a slight bit in my jaw. And just being with that. What are the edges of that tension? Is there a color that you would give to it? A texture? A temperature? Does it want to move? Maybe it wants to stay still and just notice. Sometimes these states of contraction or tension in the body can be difficult, but they also really can draw our attention. So now we want to skillfully move our attention and pendulate, there's that word, back to the pleasant sensation in the body. Okay, so just noticing again that pleasant or neutral sensation in the body, or even just less tension. It's just different. We're noticing the differences. So again, what does that feel like? So when we're feeling something difficult in the body, we want to build our capacity to be with it. So we would stay with it, and then we want to kind of take a breath over into the more pleasant sensation, or the sensation that has less tension. Just staying with that. Has the size changed? Has it moved? Has it spread? The pleasant sensation. Now let's go back to the sensation of tension. So I'm back in the jaw, noticing the edges of that. Does it want to move? Does it want to say anything? And has it shifted from when you were here before? And now let's go back to that pleasant sensation, and we're not gonna pendulate back to the sensation of tension. So let's really take our time, that pleasant sensation. So like I said, I'm using my wrist, and you can use wherever on your body you're finding that. And just staying there. And now just dropping that, open the eyes, look around. Now we're going to just end with a self hold. So taking a look at the hands, and we're going to take the right hand. So take your right hand and slip it under your left armpit, right there. And then we're going to take our left arm and bring it across the upper arm. And notice how that feels. Feeling the left side of the body being held and the right arm being held. And take a breath. And now as we breathe in, let's do a little squeeze. Just a small, small squeeze. And when you breathe out, you can just kind of relax it a bit. Breathe in, give it a squeeze. So pendulating between pressure and release. And is there one you prefer? Breathing in, squeeze, maybe shrug the shoulders a little bit, and release. And now let's just pause here in neutral. That was a lot of brain work. We are moving a lot between different sensations. So let's just notice how it feels. Just how it is right now. So remember, pendulation, this skill you can use when you're feeling stuck, to remind yourself and show your body that you're not stuck, and there are other things that are going on, even if it's just a slight difference. And practicing pendulation can bring more flow into your energy and the sensations in your body. So let's just drop that. Notice what it feels like to drop that. Maybe you're feeling a little more open. Take a look around. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed today's practice. Let me know how it was for you in the comments. Again, like, subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everyone.